Something unusual has been happening in the crypto market, and many people are starting to pay attention. XRP holders, crypto analysts, and even traditional investors are closely watching recent developments that could have long-term implications for the market. Over the past few days, discussions around a potential black swan type event have increased, especially following statements and public commentary linked to former US President Donald Trump and broader regulatory conversations in the United States. Before going any further, it's important to be clear that this video is not financial advice. Everything discussed here is based on publicly available information, market speculation, and analysis. Crypto markets are highly volatile, and viewers should always do their own research before making any investment decisions. In recent years, XRP has remained one of the most closely watched digital assets, largely due to its unique position in the crypto ecosystem and its ongoing regulatory history in the United States. Unlike many cryptocurrencies that focus purely on decentralization, XRP has often been discussed in the context of cross-border payments, financial institutions, and regulatory clarity. This has made it a frequent topic whenever US policy, regulation, or political leadership enters the conversation. Recently, attention has turned toward comments and policy-related discussions associated with Donald Trump and individuals connected to his political circle. While no official policy announcement has been made directly targeting XRP, market participants are reacting to broader signals regarding crypto regulation, economic strategy, and the future role of digital assets in the US financial system. In crypto markets, perception alone can move prices, sometimes just as strongly as confirmed news. The term black swan is often used in finance to describe an unexpected event that has major consequences. In crypto, black swan events can include regulatory decisions, court rulings, geopolitical shifts, or major institutional moves. When people talk about a potential XRP black swan, they are usually referring to a sudden change in regulation, adoption, or legal clarity that could dramatically impact price behavior and long-term utility. Donald Trump has previously expressed mixed views on cryptocurrencies, ranging from skepticism to openness toward innovation in financial technology. More recently, there has been renewed discussion around digital assets as part of broader economic competitiveness and financial infrastructure modernization. Even indirect comments about strengthening US dominance in financial systems can be interpreted by markets as bullish or bearish signals, depending on context. What's important to understand is that XRP's value proposition is closely tied to regulation. Unlike purely speculative assets, XRP's supporters often argue that regulatory clarity could unlock broader adoption by banks, payment providers, and financial institutions. Because of this, any shift in political tone or regulatory approach can have an outsized psychological impact on XRP holders. Another factor contributing to the current market tension is timing. The crypto market as a whole is already in a sensitive phase, with investors watching interest rates, inflation data, ETF developments, and upcoming regulatory decisions. When macroeconomic uncertainty combines with political headlines, it creates an environment where sharp market moves become more likely, even without concrete announcements. Some analysts believe that if US leadership were to publicly support clearer crypto frameworks, it could reduce uncertainty across the entire market. Others warn that political involvement can also increase volatility, especially when statements are open to interpretation. This uncertainty is exactly why some traders describe the current moment as a potential black swan setup, not because something has already happened, but because the conditions exist for a sudden shift. XRP's community has always been particularly sensitive to regulatory news. Past legal developments have shown how quickly sentiment can change. A single court decision, filing, or public statement has previously resulted in dramatic price movements within hours. This historical context is why even indirect political commentary can trigger strong reactions. At the same time, it's critical to separate confirmed information from speculation. As of now, there has been no official announcement from Donald Trump or any US government authority declaring new XRP-specific policy. Much of the discussion online is driven by interpretation, anticipation, and broader crypto-related narratives. YouTube viewers should be especially cautious about sensational claims that promise guaranteed outcomes or sudden wealth, as those often violate platform guidelines and mislead audiences. From a long-term perspective, XRP's future will likely depend on a combination of regulatory clarity, real-world adoption, and overall market conditions. Political leadership can influence regulation, but it does not act in isolation. Courts, regulatory agencies, financial institutions, and global economic trends all play a role in shaping outcomes. For American investors, this moment highlights an an important lesson. Crypto markets react not only to facts, but to expectations. When influential public figures are mentioned in connection with crypto, markets often move before any official action takes place. This does not mean those moves are sustainable or justified. It simply reflects human psychology and speculative behavior. Some market observers suggest that if future U.S. leadership emphasizes innovation-friendly regulation while maintaining consumer protections, assets like XRP could benefit from increased legitimacy. Others caution that increased government attention could also bring stricter oversight. Both possibilities exist, and neither should be ignored. It's also worth noting that crypto markets operate globally. Even US-centric news can have international consequences, especially for assets like XRP that focus on cross-border payments. Decisions made in Washington can influence sentiment in Asia, Europe, and emerging markets almost instantly. For viewers watching this video, the most responsible approach is to stay informed, avoid emotional decision-making, and rely on verified sources. Crypto history is filled with moments where hype overshadowed reality, leading to disappointment for those who acted too quickly. At the same time, there are examples where patience and careful research paid off over the long term. As discussions continue around regulation, leadership, and financial innovation, XRP will likely remain in the spotlight. Whether the current situation turns into a true black SWAN event or simply another chapter in crypto's volatile story remains to be seen. What is clear is that the coming months could be important for the entire digital asset space. Ultimately, crypto is still an evolving technology. Political headlines may influence short-term movements, but long-term success will depend on real utility, trust, and integration into the financial system. Anyone watching developments around XRP should focus less on dramatic predictions and more on understanding how regulation, technology, and adoption intersect. As always, stay informed, think critically, and remember that no single announcement, real or rumored, should replace proper research and risk management. The crypto market rewards patience more often than panic, and understanding that difference can make all the difference. As always, stay informed, think critically, and remember that no single announcement, real or rumored, should replace proper research and risk management. The crypto market rewards patience more often than panic, and understanding that difference can make all the difference. In a space that moves as fast as crypto, emotions can easily take control. Headlines appear every day claiming that a new project will change everything, that a specific coin is about to explode, or that the market is about to collapse. But experienced investors know that real success in crypto rarely comes from reacting to noise. It comes from building a clear strategy, sticking to it, and adjusting only when the fundamentals actually change. One of the most important habits any crypto participant can develop is the ability to separate short-term price movement from long-term value. Prices can rise or fall sharply based on speculation, social media hype, or macroeconomic news, but value is built over time through real adoption, strong development teams, and sustainable use cases. When you understand this distinction, market volatility becomes less frightening and more manageable. Another key factor is understanding your own risk tolerance. Crypto is not a one-size-fits-all market. Some investors are comfortable with higher risk in exchange for higher potential returns, while others prioritize capital preservation and steady growth. Neither approach is right or wrong, but problems arise when people take on more risk than they can emotionally or financially handle. Knowing your limits helps you make rational decisions, even during extreme market conditions. Diversification also plays a critical role in risk management. Putting all your capital into a single asset, no matter how strong it appears, increases exposure to unexpected events. Technology issues, regulatory changes, or shifts in market sentiment can affect even the most established projects. Spreading investments across different assets, sectors, or strategies can help reduce the impact of any single setback.